In this video, Lesson 4, I'm going to show you the fundamentals of computer and device maintenance. Let's get started. Hey, it's Dan Bisagni again from lowtechsupport.com, and thank you so much for your emails and comments that I received on the last video. The emails that I've been getting have been really helpful. How to protect your data, how to utilize public Wi-Fi, things like that. I am really excited about that. I will hopefully be putting out an extra email about those things. In this video, I'm going to show you the fundamentals of computer maintenance and device maintenance. But first, let's recap what we learned in the first 3 videos. So the first video was about creating strong passwords and information security, and why it's important to think about information security. Creating a strong password is like the front door to your information system. Your information system could be compromised by a very weak password, so it is the front door. So creating a strong password is very important to your overall information security strategy. The second video we went over was networking, and we talked about how every home that has a Wi-Fi system in it has a network in it. And that network could be compromised by a weak passcode. So we taught you how to get your passcode changed to a stronger passcode. Also in networking, we learned about opendns.com, which is a website that allows you to filter out dangerous content, and that is really important to protecting your home network. In the third video, backups and storage and what is the cloud, we learned about how to store your data properly and how to keep your data from being compromised by placing it in the wrong place or lost because you did not have a proper backup. And that's going to be very important to the lesson that we have for today. Today, in Lesson 4, Computer and Device Maintenance, we're going to use what you learned in Lesson 3 to directly impact how to recover your computer in the case of a problem. So let's start with a problem. Let's say your computer has a virus, or spyware, or malware, or adware, or a rootkit. These are just fancy words for bad or dangerous software that has been installed on your computer. The strange thing about these different types of bad programs is that those programs will have different styles of harming you or compromising your information or compromising your computer. So they all kind of go into the same realm of undesirable software that makes your computer act really strange. So let's say you have a computer and it's acting really strange. You think you have a virus, you're not 100% sure, you've run scans and nothing comes up, but you don't like the way your computer's running. The first thing we're going to do is, 1, make sure you have a good backup. Before you do anything, copy any files you want or need onto a hard drive. Now, I will say this. If you don't already have a good backup before you get the virus, you need to scan the backup you make. So take it to another computer that's not infected and scan the hard drive you just made to make sure it does not have a virus. You have to be very careful because that could also infect that other computer. But if you have been following Lesson 3 and you already have a good backup, then this step will come right through and you won't even have to infect your other computer or potentially infect your other computer. You will already have that good backup, and all you will have to do is the following steps. Step 1, have a good backup. Step 2, write down all the applications that you use. Now, what does that mean? Well, if you think about your computer, for me personally, I use about 4 or 5 applications on my personal computer. That's it. I read my email on Google Chrome. I use a video editing software package. I use Microsoft Office. And I have a little bit of a programming system. That's about it. But I don't even use the programming system that much, at least not on my home computer. So what I really need on my computer to get it back up and running and helpful for me is the video editing software and Microsoft Office and Google Chrome. So if I write down those programs, I will have a list of all the programs that I actually need. Now, Something else is Microsoft Office. I need to write down or at least locate the license key that they sent me when I purchased that software. So there are certain programs that are very specific in the way you can uninstall and reinstall them. Microsoft Office is one of those programs. Another program that's super specific about how you uninstall it and reinstall it is iTunes. Make sure you do your iTunes uninstall correctly. I've done this wrong before and it is a hassle. So make sure you do your iTunes uninstall. You have to deactivate your computer in the iTunes software first, or deregister, and then you have to re-register it when you're done. Otherwise, it won't go well. Then, step 3, we're going to reinstall the entire operating system. Now, that sounds really crazy. What does it mean? Well, each computer has a base operating system. It's kind of like the walls in your house. If you took all the walls out of your house would no longer be a house. Your house would be a roof on a foundation. So the walls enable the house to be a house. Well, an operating system is the same as the walls in your house. It gives your house the actual structure where you can go in and utilize the rooms how you need to. So it allows you to do work in your home if you have good walls. And Windows 10 and Mac OS 10 or OS X, that is your operating system. It allows you to utilize different areas of your computer to do certain types of work. So we're going to reinstall Windows 10 because about 60% of the people that I surveyed came back and said they're using Windows machines. 30% said we're doing Mac machines. So nothing personal to the Mac people. We just only do one in this instance. But also, these processes are kind of the same. You just have to do a little bit of research and figure out how Macintosh does this same process, because they both do these same processes and almost have identical options in their wizards. So this would apply pretty closely to your Mac operating system as well. I should say the mechanics might be different, but the options should be the same. The first thing you do on a Windows 10 machine to start the reinstall of Windows is you click Start. It's a little box at the bottom left-hand side of your screen, and it looks like it's got 4 square boxes on an angle. That's your Start button. Click on that Start button, and then you don't even have to click on anything else. Once you've clicked on that Start button, you just start typing, and Windows will search through your whole system to find what you're looking for. Then you type Reset this PC. That is the name of an actual application inside your computer if you have Windows 10 and it's one of the newer updates. It's going to put a little rectangle up in the corner that says Reset this PC. You click on that, and then we'll start the application to reinstall your Windows operating system. Now, this is where you have to start paying really close attention. So I put a little note here. Note, read all the screens, okay? Because you will delete everything and that would be bad. Read all the screens, write down all your decisions that you make. That way, if you do have to take your computer to someone and tell them what you did, you'll have a log of what you actually did, okay? And then 3, write down any errors that you get. That's really important. If you can write down the exact error that you get and your system crashes or fails, you can go to another computer, Google that error, and figure out what happened, and then go back and correct it, and you might be able to recover your reinstall. So then, after Reset this PC pops up, you click on that option, and you choose the option that says Keep My Files. Now, I will say this. If you choose Keep My Files on your computer, you reinstall Windows, you go through the whole process, and your computer acts exactly the same at the end of the reinstall process, then you're going to choose a different option here. You're going to choose the option that says Just Remove My Files. What it's going to do is delete everything and reinstall your Windows. That is a way to make sure that you've gotten every single virus off of your computer. Now, if you are going to sell your computer to someone else, you need to choose a different option. That option is Remove Files and Clean Drives. This is a little bit different. What this does is this deletes all your files, and then it rewrites every sector of your hard drive, and then it reinstalls Windows. That makes it very hard for other people to recover your data when they buy your computer, say off the internet or anything like that. Doesn't make it impossible, but it just makes it more difficult. Now, the problem with that is it is very time consuming. It takes a long time to do that process, 3-4 hours. So depending on how fast your computer is, how fast your hard drive is, it can be a long time. So don't do that one unless you're going to sell your computer. The computer will no longer be in your possession, and you need to make sure that no one can get that data. Then you do that one. Okay, so once you're done with that, let's say everything is good and simple. We're going to choose the option that says keep my files. So what will happen is Windows will reinstall itself and it'll reboot your computer. So anything in Windows that may have been infected by the virus will get overwritten. Or if the virus has damaged any part of the Windows operating system, it will go in and fix those parts of the Windows operating system and make it like you just bought your computer. Except with Keep My Files, all your files will be there. So after that happens, what you have to do is you have to reinstall all your apps. Apps, applications, programs, it's the same thing. Little pieces of software that allow you to do different jobs or different games or different things. So in my case, I'd have to reinstall Chrome, I'd have to reinstall Office, and then I would have to reinstall my movie editing software, and then I would be ready to go. Now, I would say you may want to check your files and make sure nothing's missing. You run Windows Update, then do your virus scan. And then you should have a clean image with all your files still there and all your applications reinstalled. So that's it. Now, an interesting side effect is that your computer is going to run a little faster. What does that mean? Well, if you're experiencing slowness on your computer, sometimes it's because we have applications that we installed and we never used. Like I have a FreeCAD software on my computer. I think I used it for 2 months, and then it's just sat there. It's a huge program. So that's the type of software that I wouldn't reinstall because I don't miss it. So sometimes this can fix slowness as well. So these steps, it's just simple steps. You could fix a computer with a virus that was running Windows 10. Similarly, if you had Mac OS X and maybe it got some malware or a virus, and yes, they can get malware and viruses, Mac computers, this would also work. Okay, it's much harder for Macs to get viruses, but it is possible. Okay, so just to recap, the first thing we learned was how to fix a computer with a virus using these steps. Pretty straightforward, a little bit involved, but not impossible. Okay, this week I got 2 really good emails from you guys, and I wanted to talk to you guys about them. The first one was, well, it wasn't the first one, but the one I want to talk about first was from John. John had a great question. He actually had a lot of great questions, and I'm going to try and post that email and the exchange that we had. That's going to be at lowtechsupport.com/blog. Since the cloud storage provider is actually a physical location, can my data get damaged at that physical location? That's an interesting question. And there's 2 answers. Is it possible? Yes. Would it probably be irrecoverable? No. Okay, so what am I talking about? Well, in a data center, most major cloud storage providers have their own data centers. Like Microsoft, like Dropbox, like Google Drive. Those guys have their own data centers. Every major data center will have a disaster recovery plan. Or they should, if they don't, and they need to be doing their homework. That means they would offload that data to another data center, potentially, and then if their primary data center gets damaged, like in a fire or a flood, then they could recover that data from the other data center within a couple of hours or within a couple of days. It might not be immediate if they only have one data center, but if they have multiple data centers and they have multiple copies of your data, it won't take very long for them to rebuild that data into a usable system and then get it back out to you. So, could you potentially lose your data? Yes, but it would be very hard. You'd have to have multiple facilities being destroyed at the same exact time. Now, the other thing that's very interesting is I was on a system called Microsoft Azure, which is a cloud service provider, and they actually offered options that you could pay for that if you wanted to, you could have your data backed up to here in San Antonio, and then you could have another data center in like another part of the country in America, and then you could have another copy of your data in a data center in Europe. So having those disaster recovery plans helps ensure that your data won't be lost. Secondly, I did want to thank Naomi for sending in a really good example of how to identify if you're being scammed or not. She told me a story about how a friend of hers looked like his computer was acting really strange, and then he got a call stating that someone could fix it for like $2,400 or $2,500. Using a separate device, she was able to look up the company that was calling them and was able to realize that it was a scam. And using a separate internet connection to do the research was a really great idea, because sometimes if you use the same network that the computer with the virus is on, sometimes your device can get compromised as well. So she used two things that were just really brilliant. The first thing was using a separate device to do research, and then using a separate internet connection was a really good idea to figure out if that company that was offering services was legitimate, and they were not. Also, anytime someone offers to fix your computer for more than it's worth, generally speaking, it's a scam. Even a good technician will probably tell you it's time to buy a new computer. I can get your data off this computer. Just get a new computer. And it will cost you a couple of $100 to get the data recovered, but it won't cost you $2,500 unless they have to do some massive forensic data recovery, which is very rare. Well, if you've been watching my videos, you know that I give my instructions in non-technical language. I don't want to explain things in a way that is not understandable. Also, I give step-by-step instructions like these that anyone could really follow. The other thing I try to do is I try to give you starting points so that you don't have to waste large amounts of time trying to figure out what questions do I need to ask. I provide a lot of that knowledge so you don't get stuck. And now you even have a process to recover from a horrible situation where a computer would have a virus. In the back of all of our minds, there is a fear or concern that our computers or home information systems are not secure. We feel we could be better stewards of the technology we own. By following the explanations I provide and learning simple guiding principles and the step-by-step instructions, you can use your computers and devices with the understanding and confidence that you have secured your devices to the best of your ability. And you are continuing to secure these systems so that they and you are no longer easy victims for identity thieves. Is this an easy thing to do? Of course not. But I often tell my customers that what I lack in technical ability, I make up for in perseverance. This is true for you as well. You don't have to be the most technically minded person, but you do need to try and not give up until you have completed your task. I have enjoyed sharing this information with you over the last few weeks, and I really enjoyed reading your emails, listening to your comments, and learning your struggles. I have been really encouraged by everything you guys have been asking me. Please feel free to email me. Please give me some time to respond. Definitely leave me a comment on YouTube or on my blog or Facebook. Share this video with your friends. Email me any questions you might have. Please, let me know if there's anything that you need to know about your home information system. Thank you so much. Hope this helps. Bye.